Welcome back to Webcertain TV. I'm Gemma Houghton. Today I'm joined by Fili Wiese of searchbrothers.com, and we're going to be talking about links and whether or not Google really likes them or not. So hi Fili, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So links, big debate always within SEO, especially over the last few years, about whether or not Google is for or against link building. And many people think now that link building is a no-no, it's a bad thing, and that Google will penalize sites that do it. Is that true?
No, absolutely not. Not for the sake of link building. Actually, link building, everyone should be doing it all the time. In a nutshell, Google is not against link building at all. They're against building links for the manipulation of search engine rankings, but they're not against link building.
So what is the difference between those two things?
Okay, so the difference between link building for PageRank manipulation is to try to build links for the sake of PageRank that the site might rank a little bit higher among their competitors or other websites that may be relevant in the for the search query. The other way is actually building links to drive traffic to your website. Now, if you look at the history of the web, so in the original design of the World Wide Web in 1989 by Tim Berners-Lee, he proposed nodes between hypertext and hypermedia. Think videos, images, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the nodes is basically hyperlinks. This is where the links came in. This is what made the World Wide Web a web. Without the links, there is no web.
Yeah.
It's the basic foundation, one of the crucial pillars that makes the web as the web. I'm not talking about the other parts of the internet, although they obviously benefit from this as well. But from the World Wide Web perspective, link building and links are an integral part of what is the World Wide Web. So, and Google recognizes this. They're perfectly fine with link building. That is not the problem. Actually, they use it. At the beginning, they use it primarily for two goals. One was discovery of content, and the second one was potentially use it for ranking where PageRank, then the PageRank algorithm comes in, to rank authoritative sites higher based on the PageRank algorithm. Over time, Google developed a lot of other ranking factors, over more than 200. So, and PageRank has become a less important factor. It doesn't mean it's not still a factor, it's just not as important as it used to be. So for Google, links are still important, not just for PageRank or the PageRank factor that it may bring, but primarily for the discovery of content. Yeah. And for that sake, Google loves links. Without it, they would not be able to crawl. Their crawlers follow links. So they love links. Yeah. The problem is when webmasters and particularly SEOs try to manipulate those links, attributions, to gain a higher ranking. And that's something that Google frowns about. And that is where the penalty part comes in. Yeah. That's also where a lot of confusion exists, because people get penalties and they think Google is against link building. And that's absolutely not the case. They love links. And we should build links, always.
So when you are building these links that are crucial, and I think, most people do still understand the concept that, of course, you need to, like you say, how can you move around? How can you get people from one place to the next if there's no links? What is a good approach to that? What are good links? How can you make sure that you are doing it in the best way possible in order to, not incur penalties, and also make sure that you're giving users a good experience?
Yeah, so the primary purpose of links, as you say as well, is to let users navigate around. And we should not be focused on Google when it comes to links. Now, obviously Google is a player in the market, and we do need to keep it in mind. When in doubt, when building links, when in doubt for Google Webmaster Guidelines, feel free to apply the rel nofollow. It's not about PageRank. It really isn't. And we shouldn't be focused on PageRank at all when we're building links. We should be focused on building links that drive convertible traffic to our websites. We're building from brandability. We're building to gain traffic to the website that may convert there. Like most websites have a purpose. Now, whatever the conversion metric is, if it's readership, if it's sign-ups, if it's selling products, whatever the conversion metric is, there is a goal for a website. If there's no goal, then you have to ask yourself, why do you have a website? But assuming that you do have a website, you have a goal with that, then that is the part that you should be aiming for. That means that you need to look broader than just Google and look at potential partnerships. Think if you are a local business, you can do a partnership with, say, a local football club to drive traffic from that football club or branding towards your shop. This is something that's perfectly fine. Now, again, if you're in doubt if that's in violation of Google Webmaster Guide, just apply the rel nofollow. It isn't about the PageRank. It really isn't. It's fully about driving convertible traffic to your website.
And as we know now, a lot of the ranking factors that, the things that Google would consider when ranking are things like click-through rate, time on page, how the users, stay on a site, etc. So that all actually, if you think about it, makes sense, because that's providing that whole experience. That actually means that while they may not look at that link specifically for that link, they're still going to look at it in the context of how it makes your website work.
Yes, and they will crawl it also. They will try to crawl it. They will, they will try to crawl it. They will basically use it for discovery. They will evaluate the signals on the page, and when relevant, they will also use it.
Yeah.
The rel nofollow is also a suggestion to Google. It's up to Google to decide if they actually want to attribute a value link juice to it or not. Another way that I would argue as well to think about link building, any link is a link building effort. That includes ads. As simple as that. A lot of people don't see that, but it is a link build because it is a link that drives traffic to another page. So that's something to keep in mind. It isn't about Google link building. Almost the last 2 decades, we have focused on Google because of the PageRank algorithm. But link building has been around much, much longer, and we should focus on it as a tool to build links and always be linking, always be link building, and always be branding your website. And imagine that if Google wouldn't have existed, or PageRank, the PageRank algorithm would not have existed, would you still be building links? Absolutely. On the World Wide Web, that would have been the only way to get really people to your website. Yeah. And that's how we need to think about linking.
So you mentioned the rel nofollow there, and that's perfectly fine to use that. But how do you decide when you should and shouldn't use that? Are there any guidelines? Are there any concepts that webmasters can apply for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you want to use the rel nofollow, there's a couple of situations. First of all, if you have a commercial anchor text, anything that looks as a commercial link towards your website, you don't want to run the risk of getting a penalty for that. From a Google perspective, that is. Then the other one is if it's user-generated content. And one of the reasons for that is once you do open up your website by not rel nofollowing user-generated content, think comments, forum posts, anything along those lines. Yeah. At that point, spammers, bots, will hammer your website like crazy. Yeah. So they will still try to do that. So you do need some additional spam protection, don't get me wrong there, like reCAPTCHA or something like that. But not having that rel nofollow incentivizes them to try to get around those spam detection methods. So having that is a good way of discouraging, like, okay, yeah, you may spam me, but if you get around my spam detection methods, but you know what, you're not going to get real value from this. Yeah. So that's 2 scenarios. The third scenario is when you deal with affiliate links. So the first one was commercial anchor text type of links. The other one is commercial links in the sense of affiliate links that going to a third party, which is your affiliate provider network or something like that. And in that case, you want to make sure that you, especially if you're the affiliate provider, you do not inherit any bad backlink juice from your affiliates. And the best way to go about that is to utilize a specific URL parameter or directory that you point your affiliates to, and then robots.txt that pattern out. So that for Googlebot, that's where the link juice stops. So it never reaches the actual destination, and as such, you're safe.
So yeah, it's very much about being aware of what you're doing, making sure that you are carefully planning how you're using links and where they're coming from and where they're going to, but not just... It's being scared of them, basically, which is maybe the case. Not being frightened that they're going to do you damage when actually they're probably going to do you value.
And actively be building links. It's really about driving traffic to your website and driving convertible traffic to your website. If you build links to your website and you have a link building campaign and you spend money on that, but you're not getting any convertible traffic from that, you might as well find the trash bin in the room that you're in, throw the money in there, and leave it.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what you did. And especially when you build links for the sake of PageRank and not convertible traffic, that's what you're doing. So it's really a lost opportunity and a lot of lost money. Just imagine if you just, of a fraction of that, would reinvest elsewhere in just a few links that drive traffic, but might not pass any PageRank because they're well nofollowed. Just imagine what you would do with the extra business.
Yeah, that's it. It's the users that come that buy that actually bring you money, not Google ultimately.
Yes.
Great. So, yeah, definitely good advice there to keep on link building, and that'll see you in good stead. Great.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much for sharing.
Thanks.
Thank you.